Hello and welcome to my shop. Today I want to do a quick update to kind of cover the last couple of videos I did. There were a lot of questions and there were some really good suggestions. To kick it off, Steve Ball asked me on the blank made from 4 different blanks if I thought it would work without the veneer between the individual blanks. And my answer to that question is yes, I do. But the trick is you want to have as small of a kerf as possible, because the larger your kerf is, you really need something to take up that extra space. Other than that though, I think it would work. Marcy Cooper asked if I thought this would work using Coke cans between the segments. And the answer is yes, I do. Once again though, watch your kerf. If you've got a large kerf, your pieces just aren't going to match up real well. So you'll want to have as thin of a kerf as possible. And instead of a Coke can, you may want to go with something like maybe some aluminum flashing. You can get that at the big box store. It's extremely cheap, but it's thicker than the Coke can. It'll turn just as well, but it'll take up more of the space removed from the wood by the kerf of your blade. David H. Woodworks and John Pierce both suggested using my scroll saw to cut these instead of my bandsaw because I could get tighter curves. Now, that's a great idea, and those of you who follow me know that I absolutely love my scroll saw. The reason why I didn't use it, there are 2 reasons. Number 1, I didn't have any thick blades. I would have wanted a thicker blade, one that I think could handle the 1.5 inch thick material, because that's what I would have had. 2 blanks stacked together would have been 1.5 inches. I didn't have any thick blades, number 1, and number 2, the motion on my scroll saw, the up and down motion to move the blade, does not go 1.5 inches. It probably goes about 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch, which means the blade would never be pulled entirely out of the wood, so the flights in the blade would never get a chance to clear the chips that it was taking out of the blank. Whereas the bandsaw goes straight through the blade, and as it's going around, it has a chance to clear the flights. Those are the 2 reasons why I didn't choose that tool, but I don't see why it wouldn't work. Daniel Mund asked me, why are you using veneer between the 2 pieces of wood? Is it for looks only, or is it for stability? Now, the reason why I chose to use the veneer is because I had lost some material due to the kerf of my bandsaw blade, and when I took and compressed this together, I had the thickness of that veneer, and the veneer filled that kerf, number 1, and number 2, when I tightened it down with the vices, it can kind of squish a little bit, and it just really gave me a nice tight fit, so there are no gaps that I can see, no visible gaps between the pieces of wood. 10-Speed, the bike hanger, asked me how I handle drilling through blanks like this. You might remember I made a comment that the drill bit sort of followed the laminate and came out at a little bit of an angle at the bottom of the blank. One thing I didn't do that I have done in the past on questionable blanks is my 7-inch drill bit is relatively long, and it has some flex. You can grab it and flex it, and it'll give quite a bit, so it will take the path of least resistance. What I've done in the past to help correct that situation is I'll take, say, an 1/8 inch bit, for example, and I'll go ahead and drill a pilot hole down through here with that 1/8 inch bit. That bit is shorter, so it's stiffer. I get a straighter hole, and then when I come back with the 7mm bit, it will follow the path of least resistance, which is the 1/8 inch hole, and I get a much straighter shot down through the center of my blank. That works really well for me. And lastly on this blank, really good suggestion from Cliff Hartle. He suggested picking up the Tight Bond for dark woods. You notice that the 4 pieces of wood I used on this one, which were cherry, walnut, zebra, and Bacote, and then of course I had the mahogany veneer, they're all relatively dark, and he thought that maybe the dark Tight Bond for dark woods would look really nice in there, and I agree, that would look really nice. To be honest, I didn't think about it, but it is a good suggestion, and I'm tempted to pick up a small bottle of that just to have on hand for the future. I'd like to say thank you to everyone who viewed this 4-blank video. Had some great interaction with everyone, lots of good suggestions, lots of amazing questions. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'd like to talk for a few minutes about the Yahtzee video. Now, one of the big questions I got, and I get this question every time I use this tool, is that Incra 12-inch precision T rule. What I did, and I'm going to include a link down below, is I shot a quick little video kind of showing that tool in a more detail and giving some information, as to where I got it and, what it does. And I will put a link to that video below. So if you're interested in knowing more about that Incra ruler, there is I think it's a 5-minute video that goes over that, and it goes over the punch that I used for punching and marking the holes. Pete Gaglio asked me why I did not use a fence on my drill press to help align the holes. I'll be honest, I didn't even think about it. I think that's a great idea. It just didn't occur to me. So Pete, thank you for a good suggestion, and I'm going to keep that in the back of my mind for future projects. Andrew Tucker suggested using a clamp jig for drilling the holes on the die, and once again, I think that's a fantastic idea. Truthfully, it just did not occur to me. I got a lot of people who suggested using a 1/4-inch template to drill these die out, and I really think that would have been a great idea, because all you would have to do is take a 1/4-inch piece of plywood, cut it to 3 inches by 3 inches, mark your 6 holes, and then find your center, and then you could lay it on any side of this die and perfectly drill your holes. It would have speeded the process up immensely. I really lost a lot of time doing each side one by one, and it's such a simple solution, and I don't know why it didn't occur to me. But if you're going to make these, take the time to do the measurements. Like I said, make the 6 side and then find the center, and there's your 3, you've got your 5, your 2, everything you want to make is right there on that template, and it's going to save you a ton of time. Especially in my case, I made 2 sets. It would have saved me a boatload of time. John Seswick, he sent me a comment. He plans to make a set of these Yahtzee dice, but he has an incredibly cool idea. When he drills these holes, he's going to mix up phosphorescent powder with some acrylic resin, and he's going to fill the holes with the phosphorescent powder. That way, while they're playing Yard Yahtzee during the day, it's charging up the phosphorescent powder, and then they can play into the evening, and you'll still be able to see the dots on the dice. Very cool. I love it, and I really hope he sends me a photo of those when he's done, because I think that's a cool idea. Tim Bozzi made the suggestion that if I would have gone ahead and put lacquer on these, it would have protected the wood from dirt and moisture, and he's absolutely right. The only issue is this is a piece of soft pine. They really chipped bad. It's not the best wood for making these. I think I'm going to make another set for my family to keep out of some hard maple, and when I do those, I will put a finish on them, because that'll be something we can keep for years. I think as these bump against one another and rattle around in the bucket, hit the ground, I think you're going to see them degrade relatively quick, because the wood is just so soft. But that's a great idea, and you're absolutely right. A finish will protect these and allow them to last for many years to come. I got 2 comments on these die, and number 1, I kind of alluded to it a second ago. Use a better quality wood, take you some maple, and if you can't get a maple block that's this big, laminate some pieces together and make yourself the die out of a lot nicer wood than what I used. They'll last you forever, and you'll be glad that you took the extra time and did that. And the second thing is, Wes Hamster had a fantastic idea. He used hard maple for his. He laminated up pieces, and then he took them down to, I believe it was 3 by 3. I don't remember the exact dimension. But as he drilled his holes, he cut walnut plugs and glued them in, and then sanded it flat. The die looked amazing. I'm going to include a link to his video. It's a short video. I think it's 5 or 6 minutes. I'm going to include it down below. So if you get a chance, take a look at his video. Let him know what you think, because I think he did a fantastic job. And truthfully, when I do my maple ones, I think I'm going to steal that idea. And I think I'm going to go ahead and put some walnut in mine, or at least another dark wood. It'll really make them pop and look a lot better than black paint. That's all I have for the Yard Yahtzee video, and I also want to say thank you to everyone. I had some great exchanges. I really appreciate your questions. I love your comments. Keep them coming. I had one additional video that I wanted to make a comment on, and that was the 5-minute video. I talked about it earlier. The link will be below. I did a 5-minute video talking about the Incra ruler that I used, the precision ruler, as well as the punch that I used. I had a lot of questions about those, so I thought it warranted taking the time to talk about them, and then I could direct people there in the future when they ask about them. So if you get a chance, take a look at that video. But I had one question on that video. Scott L. asked me, he said, in the video, you said you did chip carving. Is there any way you could do a video for us teaching us chip carving? I have not chipped carved in probably 4 or 5 years. I am way out of practice. If I get some time, I will break out a basswood board, get my chip carving knife out, I'll do a little practicing, and if you guys are interested and I get enough response, I'll attempt to do a couple of intro videos to chip carving. Here's kind of how you lay out a rosette. Here's how you carve a rosette. Here's how you hold the knife. It'll be basic stuff. I am no expert. Marty Leenhouts is the expert. And if I can find Marty's address, I know he's on Facebook. If I can find that, I'll include a link to Marty below. He's the guy that I kind of learned from. Him and Wayne Barton. I bought a number of Wayne Barton books. Both are excellent, excellent teachers. So if I can find that, I'll get that info below too. I would love to thank you guys for joining me in the shop tonight for this quick update. I hope I didn't take up too much time. I want you to know that you are always welcome in my shop. Come back and see me again real soon.